Okay, we're back.
With part 2.
Part 2, our second video, right?
Yes.
What chapter did we read?
We just read chapter 4.
Okay, and what was chapter 4 called? Let's let them know.
It was called Racing the Storm.
All right. So, let's talk about chapter 4 and Racing the Storm. So, let's tell them what happened. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, first, they were just talking about Josiah Crawley and about they were still with Mr. Ralston for a couple minutes, and then they kept talking about Josiah Crawley, and then they went back home, and then they went to the judges. So Nancy tried to find a judge, he couldn't find it, and then she filed the court. She found the main judge, which is the manager of the judges. She said, "Let me and my heart go to lunch with you." They went with lunch with her, and then they were saying that we don't know what the will is yet, but they were all about to tell us.
So, yes, Leah said the way chapter 4 starts is they're still at lunch with the
Mr.
Rolstead. And basically Mr. Rolstead says, "Look, Josiah Crawley came to me, and Josiah Crawley said that he wanted to do a will, but that he wanted to write up the will, not have the lawyer write it up. And so Josiah Crawley had some questions about how to
write up
the will. So Henry Rolstead told him how to do it, and Josiah said, "Okay, I'm going to write up the will, and when I'm finished, I'm going to bring it back to you." But he never brought it back, and Josiah passed away. So then the story goes to the next day, and Nancy is having breakfast with her dad and Miss Hannah, the housekeeper, and they start talking about the Crawley case again, and her dad says, "Oh, well, maybe your next step would be to go talk to some of his other family members." Apparently, Josiah had some family members named the Hoovers, and they live on
River Road, just like River Heights.
They live on a road called River Road. And so Nancy was like, "I'm going to go and see them and ask them questions." But the dad goes, "First, I have to have an errand for you to run." So, her dad is a
lawyer.
And so he had some papers that needed to be taken to a judge. So he asked Nancy to take the papers to the judge. So the papers were at his office. So he got a ride with Nancy, and they pulled down the top to her convertible to drive to his office. He then got the papers, gave them to Nancy, and then Nancy took them to a judge named Judge Hart.
Judge Hart.
Okay, so she finally goes into this other town. It's like 30 minutes away from where she lives. She goes to deliver the papers to the judge, and the judge is like, "Oh, you're Carson Drew's daughter." Judges and lawyers, they know each other. So he was like, "Will you please have lunch with me and my wife?" And so Nancy goes, "Sure." So Nancy goes back to their house and has lunch with them, and she brings up Josiah Crawley. And apparently they are familiar with Josiah Crawley because their housekeeper used to be whose housekeeper? The Hart's housekeeper used to be whose housekeeper?
Josiah Crawley's housekeeper.
Yes. And so one day when they were out and about, their housekeeper pointed out, "Oh, that's Josiah Crawley, who I used to work for." And so Nancy's like, "What is he doing 30 minutes away in this part of town?" It was just really confusing to her. So she has a lunch with them, yada, yada. The judge has to get back to work. Nancy leaves. And then Nancy's like, "Well, the way I'm going to go home on River Road." And she was going to look on the mailboxes to see if she sees the Hoover name of Josiah's family to stop and ask them some questions. Now, you pick it up. What's happening when she's in her car on the road?
She's driving. She sees like black clouds and then she sees she tried to put her convertible up. It wouldn't work. It's like broken. But then she saw a big raindrop and she said, "Ah, I should have brought a raincoat." And then it started pouring. There was lightning. And when I think she was like almost there, she saw a ball of fire from the lightning
Mm-hmm.
with a bunch of thunder.
It's kind of scary, huh?
And then she sees a girl screaming. That's all we saw.
Yeah, so she's going up River Road, a thunderstorm comes down. She can't put her top up to a convertible because remember her dad put it down when they went to his office. It was nice and sunny. And so she's like, I need to get to safety because it's not safe me being out here with my top down. She sees a barn with big doors that she could pull under. And so she starts driving, but she's just getting drenched and it's just lightning and thunder.
And then a big fire comes down and she said, "Oh, that was close."
Yes, she does say that. So finally she gets up to the barn and she drives into the barn to safety. And then the chapter ends by this. It says this: a moment later, a surge of relief swept over Nancy. At last, she breathed, she's in the barn. At the side of the road where the barn loomed up, its double doors were wide open. Without hesitation, Nancy headed straight into the building and drove in. The next moment, she heard a piercing scream, and the chapter ends there. So it's leaving us on a cliffhanger. So the next chapter is called chapter 5, and it's titled
A Surprising Story.
So we'll come back after we read chapter 5 and let you know how it goes.